I'm Katie Ross and I'm one of the counseling interns here at the Family Center, and today we are going to be discussing how to manage the stress of in-laws during the holiday season.
What I'm going to be talking about is how you can plan ahead to reduce stress when thinking about visiting in-laws and things for the holidays. So some of the things that came to mind when thinking about that is at first you at least need to make sure that you're having a conversation with your partner just about what the things are that you're maybe most concerned about. You know, so I think it's different levels to it. Let's say you're newly married or you're in a new relationship. You may have the initial worries just about how is this family going to accept me, or are they going to force me to do something I don't want to do, like eat foods that I want to eat or participate in activities that I don't want to participate in. And I think that the difficulties come in because a lot of times we don't communicate the things that are hard to our partner. We hope that that stuff will just kind of bypass and we won't ever have to really address it. But if you think about it, that's when it renders its head, is when we don't talk about it. So I think if you open up the conversation to just say, hey, I'm worried about the fact that I know I have a difficult time in a crowd of people, and I know that you have a big family. How do we set this up to make sure that I can be comfortable? And then on the flip side, how can I make you comfortable if we visit at my family's house? So I think that's one thing, initially just starting off and talking about what some of those concerns may be. Another thing could be thinking about the factors that may be playing into why you're nervous about meeting as well, such as gifting, you know, things like that.
The financial strain.
Right, those pieces. Your family lives all the way in Washington State. I know you're from Washington, right? So if your family's in Washington State and we're here in Georgia, how do we plan for this travel, especially now during the pandemic? How are we going to get there? Who are we going to stay with? How are we going to make sure that everyone's going to be comfortable and safe? If you have children, what are we going to do in relation to our kids? We have 5 kids and we have to travel, you know. So I think, again, laying all of the things out there to make sure that everyone's on the same page. That way, once you get to a location, you won't have to feel like, now I feel bamboozled or trapped in this space. This person doesn't know how I feel. And on top of that, I'm having to put a smile on and interact with these individuals who are now my family because we're now married or what have you. But I may not know them very well, you know? So I think those things are important to take into consideration. Another thing I was thinking about was in relation to disagreements, you know, when we go and visit our in-laws. Although in our household we may have disagreements, we don't really want to put that out there when we're around other family members or other people. So talk about those things as well. What things do you notice usually causes you stress at home, so that you can figure out how do we plan for that when we're not home and we're somewhere else. You know, so you don't feel like you're now in front of his parents and you're upset by something he said or did to you, and you just ball all this, you know, emotion up and
explodes.
Right, and it explodes, and the parents are looking kind of like, I don't really know what I should say to them right now because they don't look like they're on one accord. But talk about those things. And so I think the biggest piece with reducing the stress, in my opinion, is to think about all the different possibilities based off who you know you're interacting with as your partner, and then allow yourself to lay those things out flat. And the great part is if you've been married or in a relationship for a while, you already know these things. So then just kind of reassuring the individual like, hey, I know that this is usually what comes up for us as a concern when we visit in-laws. This is what I want to do to be able to help make this easier, or this is what I'm expecting from you to be able to help make this easier. You know, so allow yourself the grace that we're all human and we all have our concerns, our worries, our anxieties. But if you talk those pieces out initially, I think it could help in relation to making that a little easier.
Absolutely. When you're talking about planning ahead, I think especially with the pandemic, I know some family members, when they're traveling, they're either asking their family members, hey, if you're going to come visit us, it would be really helpful if you got tested for COVID, or when we're all coming together at the house that you guys are all wearing masks. So that's kind of a new thing now that families are having to address.
And part of that right there is, I know that you mentioned the communication between the couple, but I will say being an in-law, right, is to be able to open the communication with those individuals just like you will communicate with any other adult. So if you go visit any other adult and you get there, you know, pretty much something you don't like, you communicate with that individual and say, hey, yeah, I really don't do that, or I really don't care for this right there. And then you make sure that you set up the boundaries up front, saying, I'm going to respect you as an adult, I expect to be respected as an adult. So open that lines of communication, because when my daughter-in-law, my son-in-laws come in, I want for them to be able to tell me. Because I want to be able to cater to them as well in an adult environment. Everything is not going to be catered to them, but I want to be able to find out, okay, what is it that you like, what is it that you don't like, and then we can work around that. But if you isolate and if you just get upset, if you move out of the way, then you're leaving everybody wondering, okay, what is going on? And that's whenever walls stand, being lifted up.
Right, and I think it's important too, because true, you would hope that your in-laws are going to allow that space to allow you to come in and share those pieces. But we know that all families aren't like that. And so with those challenges, everyone has their pieces, and when somebody may not open that line of communication up so that new person, especially newlywed individuals, where it's maybe the first or second time that this person is even coming around the family, if there's not that comfort there, that rapport built yet, to feel like, okay, I know I can go and talk to my mom-in-law, my dad-in-law about this difficulty, then figuring out what that looks like, having that conversation with your partner about, hey, I know this, and those are sticky, because depending on how close a person is to their family, like, hey, I know this is your mom or your dad, but when this happens, this makes me feel this way. And then hopefully the couple can come together to say, well, yeah, but this is how my mom means it, or this is what this is, and open up that line of communication to say, well, here, let me bring you two together so y'all can actually feel more comfortable with each other. So it's a team effort with the unit, so that then they can also bring in those other aspects to feel comfortable and get to the place like Angel has an expertise in.
You on the other
side, bringing all that together.
Yes.
I think that piece is important, so I think that's great.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that's what you want, I feel, to feel comfortable to share what you're going through.
Yes.
So, yeah. Thank you for that.
So our next tip is to be flexible and kind of negotiate how you can keep both sides of the family happy, which is obviously very difficult, because often two sets of people, they're going to come from different cultural backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, so holidays for one side of the family can look very different compared to the other. And so kind of building off what you were saying, that you have to have that discussion with your partner. Hey, my parents, we come from a Christian background and we really like to go to Christmas Eve service. Well, then maybe the other partner didn't really grow up with a religion, so to him that may be foreign, and have that conversation of, well, how can we respect both family traditions? What's important to you? What's important to me? How can they both be achieved so we can create these lasting, good holiday memories?
Right.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like you experience that too, like with your sets of the family, that you have to kind of balance both traditions or pieces of that?
I think the great part is, as far as the things that we do are pretty similar, but I know when getting married, for myself, one thing my husband and I would do is we flip like holidays. So like, for instance, Thanksgiving may be spent with my in-laws, and then Christmas may be spent with my family, because I have a little brother, so it's the idea of just being able to see, and he's 10. So to see the idea of that, aspect, and then also being able to flip-flop those things, especially if both people are close to their families and you both value those memories. It's hard too to transition out of your normal tradition. So if you're used to going home for every holiday and now you're a unit with your partner, that's going to be a little different, so you now have to say, okay, I got to compromise now. I can't just go to my family's house every single time. I have to make sure I'm including my partner, and then y'all get a chance to be able to work what that looks like out. So that's kind of how we will do as far as like the negotiating piece. Like, let's do this here, let's do this here. Let's make sure we're, reaching out to both sides, and we bring them together. So going back to like Angel said, we'll bring our parents and our family together so we can all spend time as a unit, which that puts me on the lucky side. I know that's not always the space, so I'm thankful for that. But if you're able to do that, that can help with that flexibility and negotiation too.
It can be hard to appease both sides. I know as a military family, we are both my husband and I were both
Right.
far away from our families, and I want to see my family when I can, and he wants to see his family, so we have to have those discussions of, hey, last year we had your parents come visit, so this year my parents are wanting to come visit. Is it okay if we do it that way? Can we switch off the holidays? And I think too, there's an important piece of communicating that also back to your in-laws.
Definitely.
So that they have expectations and those needs are met and they don't feel like they're being left in the dark, because their feelings can get hurt, understandably so. So you want to communicate that to them as well.
Yes.
Another point of flexibility there that you can keep in mind, and it is that Thanksgiving Day doesn't have to be one day.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas Day does not have to be one day.
Right.
That is a day that we have assigned to be, but as a family, we can actually negotiate to have
Right.
Thanksgiving another day. So it will be, as a parent, I tell my kids, Thanksgiving Day, that is your day. We're gonna do Thanksgiving dinner, lunch, breakfast, whatever, on Sunday. That's whenever all of y'all come in, you know, you already done the digestion of the turkey on Thursday.
Yes.
So you're good to go to eat it back again. But it's trying to find that flexibility that we assign that 25th, but it doesn't have to be the 25th.
Right.
You know, and we as parents need to be able to do that for our kids and their spouses as well. To be able to tell them, listen, why don't you take care of your family, do your family thing on that day right there, and hey, let's do Thanksgiving the day before, or let's do the Thanksgiving the day after, and we still can have turkey, and we still can have all the fixings and everything else that goes on Thanksgiving, but we don't have to put our kids under that stress.
Right.
So I know this is from this side right
Right.
there, saying,
Yeah.
hey parents, we need to be able to, you know, the biblical principle that, you know, you will leave your mother and father and you will join and you be one. Why don't we allow our kids to be one? Hey, you go on, do your family, start a tradition,
Right.
you know, grow doing that right there, and let's meet up another time, and then we can do all that stuff that goes with it. So I think that it takes from both sides, and I think that, like you're saying, many times, like I do want to see my kids all the time, but I have to be mindful that they also have other family members and other people that they want to go see, and I want to be able to be flexible on that right there. So I believe if I maintain flexibility during 95% of the year, whenever I request for a time, then more than likely I'll
They'll
get
back
it.
to you,
There you
yeah.
go. So,
And another tip too, I think, is allowing your in-laws to offer their help. So to kind of keep traditions on the families that are really important.
Right.
If you know that, hey, mom on this side of the family, she really likes to cook this big Christmas breakfast, and dad on this side, he really likes to carve the turkey on Thanksgiving. You know, anoint that to them and give them that opportunity to extend their help, and that can also take the load off of you as well.
Right.
So it's a give and take, like you're
Yes.
saying right there, right? It's like, okay, so now I am the male of the family, so I gotta carve the turkey, right? Okay, you know, what is really behind all that right there? Why do you really have to carve the turkey? Why can't you give that away? Is it more issues like control issues or other things right there that may be going on?
He's gonna be there.
So-
What's gonna happen with that?
So, you know, being able to give that, and it's just keeping, one of the things that I always say is, you know, if we're so busy and we're so stressed out, we're not gonna enjoy what the holidays are meant to be, which is bringing family together.
Yeah.
So if we can focus on, let's don't stress out, let's relax, let's make this a fun day. You know, what if the turkey burns? Okay, that's all right. You know, go get canned ham. Or, you know, it's about the activities, about the time. You're gonna be traveling from out of town. You know, it's to be able to be there and have fun, not going like, oh goodness, I gotta go there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So don't want to turn it into that.
Focus more on the quality of time, not on the schedule.
Right,
I think sometimes when you're
right.
traveling or you have the in-laws come in, you start to make this list of, okay, on this day we have to do this, this, and this, and this day it's that,
Right.
that, and then you kind of lose out on those memories and enjoying it in the moment because holidays go by super
They do.
fast.
Yeah. Which it moves us to the next place, which is like, hey, how can we say no?
Yeah.
Okay, but let's face it, if we all look at it, we all have problems saying no to somebody. Somewhere, somehow,
Yeah.
we just have that problem of saying no. So the first thing is being able to accept that I have that problem. I got the problem of not saying no, so I'm really gonna have a hard time saying no to my in-laws. I'm really gonna have a hard time because I'll try to make an impression and be, you know, super, you know, be there and all that there. But you gotta understand that you're one person. You cannot do everything. you got to be able to understand your limit, and then based on those limits, being able to go like, you know what, no, and it doesn't have to be rude, you know, that don't have to be like obnoxious and things like that right there, but it's to be able to say, you know what, I think that we're going to not go to the service tonight. We're gonna stay back, and we may do our reading, we may do the devotional here, but I think that the kids are too stressed out. And then if we take them to church, they're going to be running all over the place. They're going to be screaming. They're going to be hollering. No one is going to be able to enjoy it. So to service the other people, we're going to stay back. And we're going to hold them back. And for everybody else to be okay with that. So being able to understand why is that you're saying no. You know, I'm doing that, the self-check, right? If I just doing it because I just want to be annoying, because I want to be a control, you know, because many times we don't want that help. Because it is like, okay, if I accept mom's help, that means that I'm showing that I'm not the right wife, I'm not the right mother, right? No, it is okay, you know, for us to be able to say, no, I'm just one person, we're going to be able to do this right here. On that right there, let's put it on hold, let's put a pin on that, or let's go back and do it this way, or let's put other alternatives there, you know, but you got to be able to say no. You cannot be everywhere at the same time. So if you got mother-in-law, and let's face it, today's environment, right? Many of our kids got 2 and 3 in-laws, right? Because, you know, his or her parents divorced, so they got 2 sets of family. We're divorced, you got 2 sets of family. You got to be in 4 places on a Thursday.
It's impossible.
There you go, that's it. You got to be able to understand that right there. It's like, there's only so much turkey your body can take, okay? So let's face it, you got to be able to go back in there and go like you're saying. That flexibility, like, okay guys, this year we're going to do Thanksgiving to these 2 families. Next year we do it with these other 2 families. And by the way, guys, you still want to get together? Let's get together at another day and all that. And then at the same time, understand that, don't do 4 Thanksgiving meals, you know, because then you're going to run just like crazy. There you go. There got to be a balance in whenever you become a pleaser versus like you put those boundaries to yourself and others.
Well, those are all really great tips. Do you guys have anything else that you would like to add?
Ultimately, enjoy your holidays and your family, you know, and just spend that time like everybody was saying. It's all about that. It sounds like we all were saying the same things, that we want to spend the time with family, and just being able to remember that when all the other stuff comes up. The goal is I want to spend time with family.
And enjoy it.
Right, and enjoy it.
Well, from our family to yours, we wish you guys all a happy and healthy holiday season, and check back in the new year for new and upcoming videos. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.